Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Break Q&A. My name is Michael Moret. Coffee Break Q&A is your opportunity to ask a Bible question. If you ask a Bible question, I'll do my best to give you a Bible answer. I'll give you the email address at the end of the broadcast where you can send your questions. Question from a man today who has a question relating to Matthew 5:19. So I'm going to read that. Jesus says, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least of these commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Now, he goes on to write that he heard a woman say, "You can love the world and live like the world and still be saved." And he heard someone else say, "Even if I told Jesus that I don't want him, I'm still saved because I can't lose my salvation." And he writes, this lady has used Matthew 5:19 in an attempt to prove that you can't lose your salvation. She said something like this: "You can't lose your salvation if you sin." According to Matthew 5:19, she says you'll just have less rewards in heaven. Well, Matthew 5:19 certainly does not teach once saved, always saved. And I hope the questioner is studying 1 John with me and will stick with me through Jude, because the scriptures make it very clear that those who live in sin are not saved. I deal with several verses on that subject in those books because the issue keeps coming up. But as for Matthew 5:19, the Bible does teach that among the saved, there are different levels of devotion to Christ, which is why there are eternal rewards based on a true Christian's devotion to Christ. Now, a true Christian is going to love Jesus, and yes, will sometimes sin, but they're going to hate their sin and confess it because they don't want to hurt the one that they love, who is Jesus. Some teachers and some Christians in general are more devoted to teaching and living the truth than others. And since God is just, they will be rewarded appropriately. And that's all that Jesus is saying in that verse. And of course, Jesus also says several times, "He who endures to the end shall be saved." So I am very familiar with those who teach that you can even renounce Christ. There are some who teach, "Oh yes, you pray that sinner's prayer, you're saved, and you can even renounce Christ, and you can even become an atheist, you can become an unbelieving believer, renounce Christ, say you don't believe in God, and you're still saved." You know what? That is a theology gone over the cliff into spiritual insanity. There isn't a shred of biblical evidence that can back that ungodly, unbiblical teaching. You know what those people do? They start with their theology. They start out with what they want to believe is true. They start out with what they believe is true, and then they attempt to twist Scripture into saying what they want it to say, rather than the other way around, the way it should be, which is you read the Bible, you accept it at face value, and if it teaches that you have to endure to the end in order to be saved, then you must endure to the end to be saved, and Jesus says that several times. And it's talking about enduring in your faith in his finished work on the cross. I hope that helps. If you have a question for me, please send it to scriptureversebyverse@gmail.com. Until next time, so long, everyone.